It's the Gutsy Entrepreneur. Let's talk about networking. And I will tell you how I came into a country where I didn't know anyone, I didn't know anybody, and started a successful business from nothing. Okay, so before we get into networking, let's go over the facts. 85% of jobs are filled through network. 9 out of 10 people prefer small meetings as the best way of communication. 85% of people prefer remote meetings through Zoom, FaceTime, things like that as their way of communication. 100% of people say face to face meetings is the best way to keep a long term business relationship. Okay, so the first rule or the first key of networking is pretty simple: help other people win. It's very important for you to help others win. If you want to do something big, if you want the people around you to like you, if you want to not only add value to yourself but add value to the people around you and your environment, you have to help other people win. Mimicry. And this is something that I learned when I first came to Ghana is mimicry. You have to mimic your environment and also the people that are in your environment because 80% of human communication is nonverbal. I'll give you an example of how I did this. Now, I'm an American. We don't have chiefs or anything like that. I understood early on that I needed to get in the circle of chiefs. I needed to network with them in order to accomplish my goals and get done what I need to get done. You can't just go up to a chief and talk to them. You can't just ask the chief a question and talk. That's not how things go here. You have to repay respect and you have to pay dues. And that's something you learn when you're networking. You have to mimic your environment. You have to mimic the social norms that are around you. You can't come in and do whatever you want to do. If you're trying to penetrate a network, penetrate a group of people, and you also need to understand in how people communicate in this environment. Not everyone is going to communicate the same. Every environment is different. Entering the circle of power. From my experience of networking, you always have someone in the middle of the circle who has all the power or most of the power. And then you have people around them who they give value to, receive value from. So what you need to do is not go directly towards the person who has the power, the person who is in the middle of the circle of power. It's a wrong idea. And people will see right through it and people will understand what you're trying to do. The best thing to do is to go to someone who is close to the center of power. Take those people or that person, impress them, help them win, be interested in their cause, use that and leverage it. And if everyone around this person who is in the middle of the circle of power approves of you, then he or she will eventually approve of you. Influence the people around him or her. Do not try to directly influence them. They are powerful people. These people have access to resources and they are used to other people coming around them trying to take the resources coming around them, trying to use them so they can see right through what you're doing. You need to focus on the people around them. Use the right verbiage. A lot of us don't use the right verbiage, and we're coming from a place of take, take, take. Use the right words when you're dealing with people. And this also has a major effect because the right words can convey an idea faster than any action can. You need to use the right words. Example, using words like, what can I do for you? When a person uses a sentence like, what can I do for you? Your mind automatically assumes that they're a helpful person. Let's think about it. No, if you go to a person whom you just met and they ask you, what can I do for you? In your mind, you assume that they're a helpful person. You might not know anything about them, but you will just assume that they are a helpful person. Because when you meet people, they usually don't approach you like that. Normally, when you meet someone, they are usually thinking, what can I take? What can this person do for me? But if you position yourself in a way where you are telling people, hey, I am helpful. Hey, I'm a problem solver. That has value, and people will look at you differently, and people will assume that you are a helpful person. And if someone is an asset to you, you have no choice but to be an asset to them. It's very hard to turn down a person who has helped you. A lot of people do it, and yes, you can still do it. But if you know this person brings you consistent value and he is very helpful to you consistently, then likely you will like to maintain that relationship. You will want to maintain that relationship, and you will do whatever you can to help that person and maintain that relationship because you know later on down the line when you need something, he or she will help you. So use words. Use words like, how can I help you? How can I help you? If you use words like, how can I help you? People automatically think that, oh, this guy goes around helping people. He's not just taking from a relationship, he's giving. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Approaching people in this way, especially people who you just met, will make a big impression on them. Be humble in your approach. When you approach someone, be humble. There's a lot to be said about humbleness and being humble and approaching people and just life with humility. Because most people today are not humble. Most people today are very selfish. They will brag to you about even small accomplishments. And most people carry themselves as though they are better than you or they're better than the people around them. So being humble is very important. Be humble. Make sure you're humble in your approach and how you deal with people. And also put yourself in other people's shoes. Guys, that's all I had, and that's how I was able to network effectively. Networking really helped me a lot, and honestly, this is one of the skills that you need in your repertoire as an entrepreneur. You have to get out there, you have to network, you have to develop social skills, you have to know people, and people have to know you. It makes getting projects and goals done a lot easier. So I hope you guys gain some value from this. It's the entrepreneur, the gutsy one. Like, subscribe, and stay vigilant.